Okay, so now that you've written down your 3 questions that you're wondering by just looking at the title and looking at the cover picture of the otters, we're going to go ahead and start reading the text. Let's go ahead and get into it. So the title is Sea Otter Pups. And I see a picture of a really cute little sea otter. And I'm wondering what they mean by pups, because when I think of pups, I think of puppies. Maybe sea otter babies are also called pups. Oh, goodness. Okay, I'm gonna try my best here. Okay, so maybe if I angle this, you can see. There we go. That's better. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and read the heading. The heading is like a title that tells what this section of the text is going to be about. So it says, meet a sea otter pup. That's the heading. Meet a sea otter pup. So it says, a mother sea otter and her pup are floating in the ocean. The mother otter is resting on her back. The little pup is cuddled up on his mother's belly, just above the water. Already I'm noticing some text features. It looks a lot different than a fiction book where it's telling a story. Non-fiction books are giving information, and they give information in other ways other than just words. So I see a photograph of a real otter, and these are labels, and labels tell what it is. So it says mother sea otter pup. So that already gives me the information. I was wondering what a pup is, and now I know from this label and photograph that a sea otter pup is just a baby pup. Just like puppies can be called pups, so are baby sea otters. Let's move on. Okay. I'm going to read the heading. The heading is, what is a sea otter? Sea otters are animals that live in the ocean. They are about as big as a medium-sized dog. Sea otters have very thick fur. The fur helps keep the otter's body warm and dry in the cold water. Okay, so I see some more text features right here. The author put this in. It says adult sea otter size. And he puts a sea otter like picture there next to like what an adult woman would look like and a girl. So it's kind of comparing their size to what we would look like. So you get an idea, a better idea of how big they are and their size. And then I see another photograph with labels. The author is helping us get more information. It says thick fur. So that's the thick fur that it's talking about in the text. And this is the adult sea otter. Okay, moving on. Okay. Okay, it says, where do sea otters live? That's the heading. Where do sea otters live? Although sea otters live in the ocean, they stay close to the shore. The yellow parts of this map show where sea otters live. So a map is another kind of text feature that the author is using to tell us, to give us more information about where sea otters live. So here's the United States where we live, and then the yellow parts show where they live. And here's another version of the map. Here's the United States where we live. We're right about here. So to get to the yellow part, you would have to go west and then north. They live north of us in west, and they live in the colder regions around Alaska, Russia, and that area. So they live in the cold regions, the cold habitats. Okay, moving on. Well, let's read the labels. Here's the shore. It says sea otters. And this is part of the map. Where sea otters live is the yellow part. Okay. Okay, I'm going to read the heading. A newborn pup. A mother sea otter gives birth in the ocean to just one pup at a time. After the pup is born, she places it on her chest to keep it warm. Then she feeds it milk from her body. A pup drinks its mother's milk until it's about 4 to 6 months old. So there's the mom and the baby sea otter. So it says mother sea otter, and the other label says 1 week old pup. I thought that was so sweet how the mother holds it. She puts it on her chest and keeps it warm and starts taking care of her baby right away. Okay, let's keep reading. Okay, I'm going to read the heading. Learning to swim. Okay, so that heading tells me that in this section, I'm going to learn about how baby sea otters learn how to swim. Okay, a newborn sea otter cannot swim, but it can float really well. It floats on the top of the water like a beach ball. The mother sea otter gives her pup swimming lessons. By the time it's about 14 weeks old, the pup is able to swim and dive. So look at our photograph and our labels. Floating mother sea otter right here, and floating pup. That's just adorable. They're so cute. Okay, let's keep reading. Let's see what else we can learn. Okay, the heading here says sea otter food. So we're gonna learn about what kinds of food the sea otters eat. It says sea otter adults and pups eat crabs, clams, and other shellfish. The mother otter dives under the water to hunt for food. She teaches the pup how to dive and find shellfish too. So in the photograph we have labels. It's the mother otter, and here's the pup. And here are some examples of shellfish, like the clam. So they eat clams and crabs. Okay. Okay, this heading says, time for dinner. Once the mother sea otter finds a clam, she swims back up to the water's surface, and there's one of our vocabulary words, surface, which remember means the top. Okay, so she swims back up to the top of the water, the surface, and she also brings a rock with her and lays it on her belly. Then she smashes the clam into the rock to open its shell. The mother otter and pup share the clam meat. So that's so interesting to me. Let's go ahead and look at the photographs first. It says right here is the clam. The label says this is the clam. Here's the sea otter pup. Here's the clam meat. And here's the mother. So she comes up with her clam that she found and a rock. And she puts the rock on her stomach, and then she slams that clam onto the rock so that she can open it. They're not easy to open. So I thought that was really cool. And then her and the baby pup both eat the clam meat, which is, the label says it's right here. Very interesting. Let's keep reading. Okay. So this heading says, good night. When it's time to go to sleep, an adult sea otter sometimes wraps seaweed around its body. The seaweed, called kelp, is attached to the ocean floor. It holds the otter in one place. This keeps the waves from carrying the otter out into the ocean. Sometimes the mother otter also wraps kelp around the pup as it sleeps on her chest. So almost like a blanket. You can see in the photograph that this is kelp. So that's a plant that grows in the ocean from the floor. So it's growing all the way up from the floor, and she wraps it around her. It almost looks like a blanket, but she's actually wrapping it around her so that the waves don't take her out into the sea. I thought that was very interesting. And she'll wrap it around her baby also to keep, so that the baby otter doesn't go out into the ocean without her too. It holds them both in place. Okay. Okay, our last heading says growing up. When a pup is between 6 and 12 months old, it leaves its mother. It knows how to dive underwater to hunt for food. It can use rocks to crack, that's one of our vocabulary words, to crack open the shellfish. Remember, we learned how they put the rock on their belly and then they crack that shell or that clam onto the rock so that it opens up and they can get the meat out of there. Okay, so it says it can use rocks to crack open shellfish. The pup is now ready to begin its grown-up life. So in the photograph, we have clam meat and clams. And it's the otter eating the clam meat. Okay, so that's our text for the week, or one of our texts for the week. On the next slide that you're going to click through, you're going to do what's called a 3-2-1, where you are going to write down the 3 questions that you had before you read, and then you follow the rest of the activity and write them down on the paper. You're going to find 2 answers that you got from the text. And it could be the answers to a question that you had before you started reading or during your reading. Okay, and then the 1 is one question that never did get answered. And then my challenge to you would be, see if you can look at another source to find the answer to the question that you didn't get the answer to from this text, because sometimes you have to look at other sources to find the answers that you're looking for. Okay, good job, guys.